starting our interactive session which with Al-Hajj Mohammedabbas Virjee, I would like to request the respected Sheikh to come and start off with this presentation with Allah Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. My respected elders, brothers, sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we know, this program has been advertised as an interactive session. So being the first session today, we don't know how it's going to play out. So we'll try one format, but if it doesn't work, please obviously give us your feedback. What we try and do, inshallah, I'll speak for about 15 minutes, just introduce the topic. And then if there's any questions, suggestions, discussions, inshallah, we can use the remaining time for it. The more interactive it is, inshallah, the more all of us will benefit. The topics that we have chosen or want to discuss, inshallah, in these sessions, this is, again, informal session, but the topics we want to discuss are generally very practical, day-to-day topics where are relatable to all ages. The younger a person starts applying these topics, inshallah, the more successful they will be as they age. I'm sure when I came across this topic, I'd hoped that I had come across it a lot earlier in life to be able to apply it. So the topic that we have for today, inshallah, or the discussion is how do we plan our lives from an Islamic point of view? How do we plan our days from an Islamic point of view, right? We're living in an age, we're living at a time that anyone that you ask, even if you ask a youngster, how's life? The common answer is, I'm very busy. Generally, that seems to be the trend. But then if you ask one more question, like, what do you have to show for how busy you are? Like, what have you produced? That answer is usually, we don't get an answer. Right? So everyone's busy, but question is, what are you producing? There doesn't seem to be an answer there. So Islam has given us a solution. And basically the solution is, in a nutshell, that if we fail to plan our lives, it's almost as if we have planned to fail. I don't know if that has settled. That if we fail to plan, if we don't plan our day-to-day lives, if we don't plan how we're going to spend our hours during the day, we have planned, we have decided to fail. And as Muslims, particularly in the school of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, we have more of this desperation. Because not only do we need to live a successful life in dunya, this limited time that we have in dunya, this super limited time, needs to give us the fuel for akhirah as well. So every minute needs to be accounted for. So inshallah, I'll mention two ahadith from our Imams of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and I'll share two short stories, and then inshallah we leave the floor open for discussion. So please, it's very informal. I'd love to have sat down with all of you, but just it's very informal. Whatever thoughts are in the mind, whatever questions are there, maybe some of the more experienced brothers can help answer it as well. I should mention that this is a lecture that has been given by Sheikh Muhammad Ali Shumali in the UK. It's an hour, 1 hour, 10-minute lecture that inshallah, if there's more interest, you can follow it on YouTube. And it's obviously will be very, very beneficial, inshallah. So the hadith that we want to share with you all tonight, inshallah, is a hadith from our dear Holy Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. And this is Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam advising Imam Ali alayhi salam. So this advice is top notch. Prophet ﷺ says to Imam Ali that يَنْبَغِي لِلْعَاقِلِ إِذَا كَانَ عَاقِلًا. It is necessary for an intelligent person, if he is really intelligent, to divide his day into 4 parts. So this is the way an intelligent person lives his life. He divides it into 4 parts. Now this is one hadith that is talking about 4 parts after we have spent our 8 hours, 8.5 hours at work. So if we think about it, let's say we work for 8 hours. Imagine you work from home, so there's no commute time. So 8 hours is 30% of the day gone. Let's say you're very lucky and you sleep for 8 hours. So that's another 30% gone. We are left with what? 40%. So this hadith seems to be giving us instructions on how to spend that 40%. So the first part is yunaji fiha rabbah. It is a part where we need to spend in communication with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to dedicate a time in our lives where we are communicating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This munajat can include our daily salah, either jama'ah prayers or prayers at home, can be dua, can be Quran recitation, etc. The point that we're taking out of this is we've got to dedicate a time for this, right? We should not make our salah something that I have nothing else to do now, let me go and pray. I'm cooking and it's going to take 15 minutes for this pasta to boil, let me go and smash out Salatul Isha. No, there's food in the microwave, it's going to be heated for 3 minutes, I can finish this salah in that time. No, we got to dedicate a time for worship. This is in the life of an intelligent person. The second part, the second division, is a part to take account of ourselves. At the end of the day, to think about what we've done throughout the day. How did I live my life today? What did I do? Similar to a businessman, when he closes his sales, when he closes that cash register, he says, how profitable was the day today? What are the items that sold really quick? What are the items that are not moving? How do I cut down my losses? Every single penny is accounted for. Similarly, in the life of a mu'min, before he falls asleep, he decides, how did I spend my day today? How's my relationship with the people around me? What good did I do? How can I make it better? What bad did I do? How do I eradicate that from my life? Every single minute or action is being accounted for. Imam Kadhim alayhi salam says that a person who does not take account on a daily basis, this is a very scary hadith, a person who does not take account of himself on a daily basis is not from us, meaning he's not from the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, the followers of the Ahlul Bayt, because this was the practice of the Shi'as. I personally know of a person, an individual, who would have a diary, and anything that happens in life in his day, he would make note of it. He would take note of, record what has happened, right? So this muhasabatun nafs, taking account of oneself, is very important. So that's the second part that we need to divide our day into. The third part is a part that is allocated to learning. We need to allocate a part in our lives about learning. My respected brothers and sisters, if you and I only rely on mimbar for majlis, for our knowledge, whichever speaker comes, with all due respect to all the speakers, if our only source of knowledge is the mimbar, or our only source of knowledge is the madaris, the madrasas, then there's a bit of a problem. When the hadith is saying that we need to dedicate an hour or a part of our life, our day, to learning, this is active learning, meaning structured learning, systematic learning from a particular source. The best example of this is you find a scholar, a very ruhani scholar, a nurani scholar, and you sit with him and you learn from him. This is the best example. But in our day and age, it's difficult to get that scholar, right? But there's so many things that are online these days. We can go online on YouTube or read the work of a scholar, for example. So there's really no excuse of not being able to gain access to a scholar. So the third part is, we've got to dedicate our lives to active and systematic learning. And the fourth one is spending time for pleasant, permissible entertainment. Right? So this could include sporting activities, this could include some fun with the family, collective activity. And it is this fourth part, this halal entertainment, the hadith says, that gives energy to do all the other three. So this is very important, right? It's important that people, the mu'mineen, meet with other brothers, have a good friendly conversation, etc., spend time socializing, and this, inshallah, is what will give power to everything else. Often we find that we find ourselves, brothers and sisters, that when someone asks, what do you do with your life? The answer is, oh, I'm a full-time mother. And when we mention this one thing, we make it so big in our minds that it encompasses every aspect of our lives, giving us no room to do anything else. Brother, what do you do with your life? I'm studying uni full-time. So what? Can't you do anything else? Is this the best that you're using of your time? Right? I'm very busy, as we said. Question is, are we able to do better with the time that we have? Right? So that's the point. So that's one hadith. And let me just share with you very quickly two stories, inshallah, before we open it up for discussion. In terms of how successful our scholars have been, because they've been so particular about how they use their time. Allama Tabatabai, we have all heard this heavyweight name, Rahmatullah alayh, the author of Al-Mizan. Right? This is a voluminous work that all scholars refer to, this tafsir of Al-Mizan. In fact, it's such a deep work that some scholars can't even understand what Allama Tabatabai is actually saying. That's how deep it is. Anyway, Allama Tabatabai says that when I was writing Al-Mizan, people saw that he had written the whole Al-Mizan cover to cover without, in Arabic, although his first language was Farsi. He wrote it in Arabic without the dots. You know, in Arabic we have the alphabets which have the dots. Ba, ta, ja, kha. He wrote the whole Al-Mizan without dots. When he was editing it for the second time and he was going to proofread it, that's when he started putting the dots. So someone asked him, Allama Maulana, why you did like this? He said, I calculated that if I were to do it this way, put the dots later on, it would save me this much amount of time. So, efficiency. He had planned how he will use his time to the maximum. Imam Khomeini, rahmatullah, these are respected brothers and sisters, our elite scholars, who every minute, literally every minute was planned. Imam Khomeini, they used to say that we were so particular with his time that everything was clockwork. People literally would set their clocks based on what time Imam Khomeini would enter the haram. There was once Imam Khomeini was invited somewhere for dinner, and even his meal times were at one particular time. He wouldn't eat at random times. It is said that once someone invited Imam Khomeini and said, Imam, the food is now ready, and it was usually 10 minutes before his normal eating time. He said, but it's not yet dinner time. He was seen using that time to recite Quran. So because his life was so planned, he was able to achieve so much. Right? So the message from today, inshallah, is if we can plan our days, we can maximize the potential that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. I don't think our potential is just to work 8.5 hours and then live our lives like that. I think Allah has given us a lot more potential. And the way we can maximize it is by planning, inshallah, our days. So, the questions now, inshallah, if you have any discussion points, brothers can share anything, any experiences that they have. The only point that the question that I have, inshallah, to begin with is, how relevant is this hadith from Rasulullah? Can we relate it to our lives, or is it something that is far-fetched? It's not for us, it's not for people living in Australia? What do the respected brothers and sisters think?
Inshallah, she'll be passing the mic to whoever wants to ask a question. Anyone wants to start off? Inshallah, Wasan. Bismillah.
Thank Sheikh Mohammed, especially Hajj Mohammed, especially being short as well.
Yes.
Efficiency time. What I do usually with the kids who are in my madrasa class, and if you don't mind,
yes, of course,
is to actually take out their phones and see how much screen time they do per day. And it's on average 5.5 hours. So I always ask them, I love the question, is that all you do is go to school full time? So there's plenty of room for them to actually be better at and being efficient with their time. So I look forward to questions, especially from the older students, especially from my class. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
I remember there was one teacher of ours who used to say, and the elder brothers will probably agree with this, that the ages between 15 and 25, these are the most critical ages in a person's life. Either you make it or you break it between 15 and 25. So yeah, inshallah, that's...
Sheikh, maybe I had a question very
Please.
quickly. In terms of the munajat, the period of munajat, if we are to split, let's say for example, there is Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, let's say 2, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 8, 12, around 20 or 25 odd minutes.
Yes.
And then after that, if I put that, and then can we say that is sufficient for munajat? Is the question. So if we are planned, we say 8 done, 16 hours, and then remaining of another 8 hours.
Yes.
If we are to break down into 4,
Right.
how much more can we do? Because sometimes we stretch our souls, we feel, oh, we're tired, or salatul namaz shab or something like that. What is the extent? How do we go about it?
Very, very good question. I have an answer, but if someone wants to maybe give an answer to this? No? So I think, look, as a beginner, we're all beginners. Right? We're all beginners. I think as a beginner, the first priority is to make sure that our salah times are looked after. So munajat meaning our daily prayers as well. So if we can rotate or revolve everything around our lives around salah time, I think that's the biggest achievement. Then the idea of reciting extra du'as, extra munajat come later. But as the first priority, namaz time should be respected. Like hayya ala khairil amal, rush towards that which is the best. So I think let's not perhaps be too concerned about what extent, how do we stretch out the munajat time. No, I think the basic first level 1 requirement is at namaz time, everything else should stop. If we see that we can pray namaz on time, we'll get the barakah and blessings in every other aspect of our lives. But if namaz, a person is not very careful about the namaz time, you wait till you get home because now the days are long and there's 10 minutes before qada and that's when you pray your dhuhr and asr, then the chances of being planned overall in life will be difficult. Yes, Bismillah.
So for my question, you know how you said your salah can become kaza?
Yes.
Why does Allah give us a range of time instead of a short time?
Good question. Very good question. See, so the question, I don't know if the brothers heard, why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us such a big range of time to pray our salah in? Why doesn't He make it really short? Number one, I think even in this long range, we are struggling. If it was shorter, we'll struggle even more. 1. 2, as we know, that first initial time, that waqtul fadila, is the time that Allah expects us to be on the musalla. When the adhan is happening, that's when Allah has called us for the meeting. Right? Allah has extended the time in case of an emergency only. That's what the ahadith say. That for whatever reason you're really stuck in an emergency, as a merciful law, Allah extends the time for you. But by default, at the time of adhan, we should be on the musalla. Right?
Any questions from the ladies' side? Anyone wants to ask? Is there a question?
Yes, please.
So when praying, let's say if you were to be busy the entire day,
Yes.
right, and you were to come home super late, would the cutoff time immediately be just midnight, like 12 o'clock, or could it be a little bit later than that?
For which salah are you talking about? For Maghrib and Isha?
Isha.
Yeah. So for Maghrib, the qada is midnight. Right? Midnight. It's not necessarily 12 o'clock. It's a little earlier than 12 o'clock at the moment. It's not exactly 12. But for Isha, in the case that you are stuck in an emergency, the qada for Isha goes all the way before Fajr. So for Isha, you have more of a leeway. But that's if you wake up, obviously, like 15 minutes before Fajr, which is more difficult. Right?
Inshallah, I believe the time is already 8:35. There was the first session. There's one more question. I'll go for one more question, inshallah. And then whoever has any other questions, please feel free to drop a text, inshallah, and we'll share it with Al-Hajj.
Can you read a namaz like 1 hour after it's started?
Yes, yes, you can.
Okay.
You can.
Inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala.
Inshallah, on the days where we don't have a program, we should be having these interactive sessions, and it is beneficial for our youth, inshallah. Let us all recite one Surah Al-Fatiha for all our marhumeens. Al-Fatiha.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.